Nestled deep within the dense woods, Camp Evergreen awaited a new batch of eager campers. The sun's golden rays dappled through the trees as the children, brimming with excitement, stepped off the bus. But little did they know, the tranquil woods held secrets far more sinister than they could imagine. As the day unfolded, the campers became aware of something unsettling. The trees seemed to whisper secrets among themselves. They dismissed it as a trick of the wind, but as the days passed, the whispers grew clearer, carrying eerie messages of warning and despair. Campers began vanishing without a trace. At first, the counselors attributed it to wanderlust, but their worry deepened as more kids went missing. The remaining campers whispered about shadowy figures lurking in the woods, their presence ominous and unsettling. One night, a counselor named Sarah ventured into the woods, determined to uncover the truth. As she followed the faint sounds of weeping, she stumbled upon a clearing shrouded in darkness. There, she saw a circle of children, eyes hollow, repeating an eerie chant that seemed to bind them to an unseen force. Sarah listened in horror as the children's chant grew louder and more frenzied. The words were in a language she couldn't comprehend, but their despair-filled tone sent shivers down her spine. She fled, vowing to uncover the source of this eerie ritual. In her search for answers, Sarah discovered an old journal hidden in the camp's attic. The journal belonged to a former counselor who had vanished years ago. Its pages spoke of a malevolent presence in the woods, a curse that had plagued Camp Evergreen for generations. The journal revealed a chilling ritual, a sinister pact made by the camp's founders with a vengeful forest spirit. In exchange for prosperity, the founders agreed to offer a child as a sacrifice every year. But as the forest spirit's appetite grew, so did the number of sacrifices. Sarah realized that the cursed pact still bound the camp, and that the forest spirit demanded its tribute. Determined to break the cycle, she sought allies among the campers who remained. Together, they vowed to confront the malevolent force lurking in the woods. With the help of a seasoned camper named Mark, Sarah learned of protective runes that could shield them from the forest spirit's influence. They gathered materials and began inscribing the runes around the camp's perimeter, hoping to create a barrier strong enough to resist the entity's power. As midnight approached, Sarah and Mark prepared for a daring ritual. They knew that confronting the forest spirit would be perilous, but they were determined to free Camp Evergreen from its grip. Armed with their protective runes and an ancient incantation, they ventured into the heart of the woods. In the heart of the forest, Sarah and Mark felt the malevolent presence grow stronger. Trees twisted with dark energy loomed over them, and the air grew thick with a sense of impending doom. They knew they had entered the domain of the forest spirit. The forest spirit, a towering, spectral figure of twisted branches and shadow, confronted Sarah and Mark. It howled in fury, demanding the annual sacrifice it believed it was owed. Sarah and Mark stood their ground, invoking the protective runes and chanting the incantation to banish the malevolent entity. A fierce battle of wills unfolded as the forest spirit resisted the banishment ritual. Its ghostly tendrils lashed out, but the protective runes held fast, repelling the entity's attacks. Sarah and Mark pressed on, their determination unwavering. As the ritual reached its climax, Mark made a heart-wrenching decision. He offered himself as a sacrifice to the forest spirit, knowing that his sacrifice would break the cycle of torment that had plagued Camp Evergreen for generations. With a selfless act of bravery, Mark allowed the ritual to succeed, banishing the malevolent entity. Sarah returned to Camp Evergreen, her heart heavy with grief for the loss of her friend. The campers who had disappeared over the years were finally free, their spirits released from the forest spirit's curse. The whispers in the woods had ceased, and the camp, though forever changed, could finally begin to heal. A memorial was erected in honor of Mark, the brave camper who had sacrificed himself to save the others. His selflessness and courage became a source of inspiration for future generations of campers, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there could be light. Sarah took on the role of head counselor, vowing to protect Camp Evergreen from the forces of the forest spirit. She taught the campers the ancient protective runes and the incantation that banished the malevolent entity, ensuring that the curse would never return. With each passing year, Camp Evergreen flourished anew. The forest, once hostile and foreboding, transformed into a place of serenity and beauty. Campers reveled in the joy of summer, their laughter echoing through the woods, a testament to the camp's enduring spirit. Sarah and the campers remained vigilant, keeping a watchful eye on the forest's edge. They knew that the malevolent spirit might one day return, and they were prepared to defend their beloved camp with the knowledge passed down through generations. Camp Evergreen's story became a legend of courage and sacrifice, shared around campfires and whispered among the trees. The campers who had lived through the harrowing events became a close-knit family, bound by their shared experiences and the memory of Mark's bravery. Campers gathered around campfires, sharing tales of the forest spirit and the brave souls who had stood against it. The stories served as a warning and a reminder of the camp's resilient spirit. Even in the face of supernatural threats, Camp Evergreen stood strong, a beacon of hope and bravery. In the years that followed, Camp Evergreen gained a reputation for its enchanted summers. Families from far and wide brought their children to experience the magic of the camp, unaware of the camp's dark history. The campers, now guardians of the ancient knowledge, ensured that every visitor was safe within the camp's protective embrace. The spirits of the campers who had been lost to the forest spirit became unseen guardians, their presence felt in the rustle of leaves and the gentle breeze that swept through the camp. They watched over the campers, their protective spirits intertwining with the very fabric of Camp Evergreen. Camp Evergreen thrived, and the forest, once a source of fear, became a source of unexpected gifts. Rare flowers bloomed in vibrant hues, and animals of extraordinary beauty roamed the woods. It was as if the forest itself rejoiced in the camp's victory over the malevolent spirit, showering the campers with its blessings. Campers formed deep bonds with one another, their shared experiences creating a sense of camaraderie that lasted a lifetime. They returned to Camp Evergreen year after year, their friendships forged in the crucible of adversity. The camp became a second home, a sanctuary where they felt understood and cherished. Sarah, now an elder of the camp, continued her vigilance, ensuring that the protective runes were renewed annually and that the campers were well-versed in the ancient incantation. She became a revered figure, her wisdom and courage admired by all who knew her. Her watchful eyes never wavered, her dedication unwavering. Every year, on the summer solstice, Camp Evergreen held a grand celebration. Campers and counselors alike gathered to honor the memory of Mark and the other lost campers. The night sky was ablaze with stars, and the air was filled with laughter and music, a tribute to the camp's enduring spirit. In the depths of the forest, the spirits of the lost campers gathered on the anniversary of their sacrifice. They were no longer bound by sorrow. Instead, they were chosen ones, guardians of the camp's legacy. They glowed with an ethereal light, their presence a testament to the camp's triumph over darkness. With each passing year, Camp Evergreen expanded its reach. New cabins were built, and more families joined the camp community. The campers, guided by the wisdom of the past, embraced newcomers with open arms, welcoming them into the camp's loving embrace. As Sarah grew older, she felt the weight of her years. She knew that her time as the camp's guardian was drawing to a close. On a clear summer night, under the starlit sky, she passed on her knowledge and responsibilities to a new generation, ensuring that the camp's legacy would continue. A sacred flame was lit in the heart of Camp Evergreen, a symbol of the camp's eternal spirit. It was said that the flame was kindled from the very stars that had watched over the campers during their darkest hours. The campers tended to the flame, understanding its significance as a beacon of hope and protection. A hauntingly beautiful melody echoed through the camp, sung by the campers during the summer solstice celebration. The song spoke of bravery, friendship, and the triumph of light over darkness. Its lyrics were a tribute to the lost campers and a reminder of the camp's unwavering spirit. The forest itself seemed to respond to the camp's anthem. On nights of celebration, the wind carried a gentle melody, harmonizing with the campers' song. It was as if the very trees joined in the chorus, their rustling leaves creating a symphony of nature and human voices. Camp Evergreen's secrets remained hidden from the outside world. To the uninitiated, it was just a picturesque camp in the woods. Only those who had experienced the camp's magic firsthand understood its true essence, the bond between campers, the protective power of ancient knowledge, and the resilience of the human spirit. As years turned into decades and decades into centuries, Camp Evergreen endured. Time had no hold on the camp. It existed in a perpetual state of summer, its days filled with laughter, friendship, and adventure. The campers, whether young or old, reveled in the eternal sunshine, their spirits forever young and free. Camp Evergreen's legacy echoed through generations, inspiring stories, songs, and art. Writers penned tales of the camp's bravery, musicians composed melodies in its honor, and artists painted scenes of its enchanted woods. The camp's influence reached far beyond its physical borders, becoming a source of inspiration for dreamers and creators. In the twilight of humanity, as the world faced challenges beyond imagination, Camp Evergreen revealed itself to those in need. It appeared to weary travelers, lost souls, and courageous hearts, offering them a sanctuary and a sense of belonging. The camp's eternal flame burned brighter, guiding the way for those who sought refuge within its embrace. The spirits of past campers, led by the brave soul of Mark, became guardians of the camp's legacy. They watched over the campers, offering guidance in times of trouble and solace in moments of sorrow. Their presence was felt in the gentle rustle of leaves and the warmth of the campfire, a reminder that they were never truly gone. Within Camp Evergreen's hallowed grounds, knowledge flourished. Scholars and thinkers from diverse backgrounds gathered to exchange ideas, exploring the mysteries of the universe and the depths of the human soul. The camp became a center of enlightenment, where wisdom was revered and understanding was cherished. Love blossomed beneath the camp's ancient trees. Couples met as campers, and under the camp's watchful gaze, their relationships deepened into lifelong partnerships. Weddings were celebrated under the starlit sky, the camp's eternal flame illuminating the path of love for all who ventured into its light. As the end of days approached, Camp Evergreen stood as a testament to the beauty of humanity's spirit. In its final moments, the camp's essence expanded, embracing the entire world in a warm, loving embrace. Those who had once been campers, counselors, and guardians felt the camp's farewell, a bittersweet, yet serene, sense of closure. The legacy of Camp Evergreen lived on in the hearts of those it had touched. Its stories became legends, passed down through generations as a reminder of the strength of unity, the power of friendship, and the enduring nature of hope. The camp's name became synonymous with resilience, inspiring future generations to face challenges with courage and grace. In the vast cosmic tapestry, where endings were merely preludes to new beginnings, Camp Evergreen found its place once more. It was reborn in a distant star system, its essence woven into the fabric of a new world. The camp's spirit, undying and eternal, continued its journey, shaping the lives of alien beings who felt the warmth of its embrace. Camp Evergreen transcended the boundaries of worlds, ascending to a higher plane of existence. It became a beacon of light in the cosmic darkness, guiding lost souls and weary travelers. Its influence stretched across galaxies, offering solace to those in need and reminding them that, no matter how vast the universe, they were never truly alone. And so, Camp Evergreen embarked on an endless adventure, its spirit interwoven with the very fabric of existence. It became a timeless sanctuary, a source of inspiration for beings across dimensions, and a symbol of the boundless potential of the human spirit. Campers, counselors, and guardians, past and present, rejoiced in the camp's eternal journey, knowing that its story would forever echo in the hearts of those who believed in the magic of summer, friendship, and the unyielding power of love. Sarah had always been an adventurous soul, seeking excitement in the great outdoors. When her friend John invited her to join a camping trip to Blackwood Forest, she eagerly accepted. Blackwood was known for its rugged beauty and a reputation for being a remote and mysterious wilderness. As they drove deeper into the forest, the towering trees seemed to close in around them. The canopy was so dense that sunlight barely penetrated, casting eerie shadows on the path ahead. It was an environment that was both enchanting and ominous, a perfect setting for an unforgettable camping experience. Sarah and John set up their camp near a picturesque, moonlit stream. They had chosen the spot for its tranquility and breathtaking scenery, but as night fell, the forest seemed to come alive with strange sounds and movements. Sarah brushed off her unease, attributing the rustling leaves and distant howls to the usual forest inhabitants. Little did she know that something more sinister lurked among the trees. As the night wore on, strange phenomena began to unfold. The campfire flickered, casting dancing shadows on the trees that seemed to take on grotesque forms. Unseen hands tugged at the corners of their tent, and eerie whispers seemed to emanate from the forest. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. John tried to reassure her, attributing the strange occurrences to the wild imagination of the wilderness. In the heart of the night, the campfire suddenly extinguished itself. Sarah and John were plunged into utter darkness. The forest's sounds grew more menacing, and a cold, damp mist seemed to crawl through the campsite. As they fumbled for their flashlights, they heard a distant, mournful cry that sent shivers down their spines. It was a sound that neither of them could identify, an eerie and unsettling wail that seemed to come from all directions. Panic gripped Sarah when she realized that John was no longer beside her. She called out his name, but her voice seemed swallowed by the oppressive darkness. She groped through the trees, searching for any sign of her friend. In the distance, she saw a faint glimmer of light, and she followed it. To her horror, she found John's flashlight abandoned on the forest floor, its beam pointed upward. The light pierced the trees, but John was nowhere to be seen. Sarah's heart pounded as she realized that her friend had vanished without a trace, leaving her alone in the heart of the haunting Blackwood Forest. As Sarah frantically searched for any sign of John, the forest seemed to come alive with unseen threats. She heard whispers that were both menacing and alluring, promising answers to the mystery, but also warning her to turn back. The trees seemed to reach out with gnarled branches, and shadows moved in the periphery of her vision. Sarah understood that she was no longer alone, that something malevolent lurked in the darkness, watching her every move. As Sarah ventured deeper into the forest, she encountered a phenomenon that defied explanation. Eerie lights danced among the trees, their colors shifting from pale blue to crimson. They seemed to move with a purpose, leading her further into the heart of the forest. The lights beckoned her with an otherworldly allure, and despite her fear, Sarah felt compelled to follow them. They led her to a clearing where a gnarled tree stood. At its base, she found strange symbols etched into the earth, as if they were part of an ancient ritual. As Sarah approached the symbols, the whispers in the forest grew louder and more coherent. They spoke of a dark history that had plagued Blackwood for centuries, of a malevolent presence that sought to trap souls in the depths of the forest. The symbols were part of an ancient ritual, one that bound the forest to a malevolent force. Sarah realized that the eerie lights were manifestations of trapped souls, beckoning her to help break the curse and free them. With a sense of dread and determination, Sarah embarked on a quest to unravel the curse that had tormented Blackwood for generations. The forest's secrets were hidden in the symbols and the enigmatic lights, and she knew that she had to confront the malevolent force to save her friend and herself. The curse's history revealed a tale of betrayal and dark magic, of a pact made with a malevolent entity in exchange for power and immortality. The entity had claimed the souls of those who had entered Blackwood, trapping them within its grasp for eternity. As Sarah delved deeper into the forest's secrets, she realized that the malevolent entity would stop at nothing to maintain its hold on Blackwood. Her quest had become a battle for survival against a force that had plagued the forest for centuries. Sarah's quest led her to an ancient and twisted tree, which appeared to be at the heart of the malevolent force that plagued Blackwood Forest. It emanated an overwhelming aura of darkness and malevolence, and its gnarled roots reached deep into the earth, tapping into the very essence of the curse. As she approached the tree, Sarah felt the malevolent entity's presence closing in on her. Shadows coalesced around her, and the whispers grew louder, threatening to overwhelm her with despair. Sarah knew she had to confront the malevolent entity head-on. She reached deep within herself, drawing upon her courage and determination, and began to recite the ancient incantation that would break the curse. The malevolent entity fought back, using the shadows to manifest its own twisted and nightmarish forms. It hurled Sarah into illusions of her deepest fears and regrets, attempting to weaken her resolve. But Sarah's determination was unbreakable. With each verse of the incantation, she pushed back against the malevolent force, her voice and willpower steadily gaining strength. In a final climactic confrontation, Sarah completed the incantation, and the malevolent entity let out an anguished, otherworldly scream. The ground trembled, and the gnarled tree at the center of the forest shattered, its roots withering away. With a blinding burst of light, the malevolent force was banished, vanquished by the power of Sarah's determination and the ancient incantation. The forest seemed to sigh with relief, and a quiet calm settled over Blackwood. Sarah, her heart heavy with worry, rushed to find her friend John. She retraced her steps, following the eerie lights that had led her deeper into the forest. They guided her to a clearing where John was found, unconscious and shivering. As John awoke, he had no memory of what had transpired in the forest. Sarah recounted her harrowing experiences and the battle against the malevolent entity. John could hardly believe the supernatural events that had taken place. Together, Sarah and John left Blackwood Forest behind, no longer haunted by the malevolent force that had tormented them. The curse that had plagued the forest for centuries had been broken, and the town could finally find peace. The eerie lights that had once beckoned them had transformed into ethereal orbs, rising into the night sky. It was as if the trapped souls had found their release, ascending into the afterlife, their gratitude visible in the spectral display. As they emerged from Blackwood Forest, Sarah and John knew that their lives had been forever changed by their nightmarish camping experience. They understood that this supernatural world was not confined to the realm of legends and myths. Blackwood Forest remained an enigmatic and haunted place, but it no longer held the malevolent force that had terrorized it for centuries. The curse had been broken, and the forest had returned to its natural, albeit eerie, beauty. Sarah and John's friendship had been forged in the crucible of terror, and they would carry the memories of their ordeal with them throughout their lives. They knew that the malevolent entity had been vanquished, but they also recognized that the supernatural world held mysteries yet to be uncovered. As they left Blackwood Forest behind, they knew that their bond and their shared experience had given them a unique perspective on the world of the supernatural, one that would shape their destinies in ways they could never have imagined. Despite the malevolent entity's defeat and their escape from Blackwood Forest, Sarah and John couldn't escape the nagging feeling that they had left behind unanswered questions. What had the entity truly been? What had drawn it to Blackwood? Were there more secrets hidden in the depths of the forest? Over the following weeks, they found themselves haunted by the memories of their camping trip, their nights filled with restless sleep and unsettling dreams. Sarah became obsessed with understanding the supernatural world, while John grappled with the lingering sense of dread that clung to him. Driven by their experiences, Sarah and John decided to embark on a journey to unravel the mysteries of the supernatural. They became amateur paranormal investigators, visiting haunted locations, conducting seances, and delving into the world of the unexplained. Their quest led them to encounters with restless spirits, strange apparitions, and eerie phenomena. The supernatural world revealed itself to them in increasingly unsettling ways, leaving them both fascinated and terrified. One fateful night, as Sarah and John were investigating a notoriously haunted mansion, they encountered a presence that was all too familiar. The malevolent entity, which they had thought banished from their lives, returned with a vengeance. It seemed that the entity had not been defeated entirely, but had merely been weakened. Its return was marked by sinister occurrences, objects moving of their own accord, chilling voices in the dead of night, and strange symbols etched on the walls. Sarah and John realized that they were once again entangled in a battle with the malevolent entity, which had grown more powerful and vengeful. The entity seemed to have a relentless grip on their lives, and they felt trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Desperate for help, they sought the guidance of experts in the paranormal world. Through seances and consultations with mediums, they learned of a way to confront the malevolent entity once and for all, a dangerous and ancient ritual that would take them to the very heart of the supernatural world. With the guidance of their newfound allies in the paranormal realm, Sarah and John embarked on a treacherous journey to face the malevolent entity in the supernatural plane. The ritual required them to venture into a realm of darkness and uncertainty, where the entity's power was at its strongest. They confronted the malevolent force in a final epic battle. The entity, now revealed in its full, terrifying form, hurled them into nightmarish illusions and nightmarish landscapes. But Sarah and John drew upon their shared experiences and unbreakable bond to resist the entity's manipulations. In the supernatural plane, Sarah and John discovered the entity's vulnerability, a shard of obsidian that held the source of its power. With a tremendous effort, they managed to shatter the shard, causing the malevolent entity to wail in agony. As the entity's power disintegrated, the supernatural plane crumbled around them. Sarah and John were consumed by an otherworldly light and transported back to the real world. The malevolent entity was vanquished once and for all. The supernatural world had been cleansed of its malevolence, and the haunting that had plagued Sarah and John's lives was over. But the experience had changed them irreversibly. They were forever marked by their encounters with the supernatural, and they understood that the world held mysteries that could never be fully explained. Sarah and John continued their paranormal investigations, now with a deeper understanding of the supernatural realm. Their quest for answers would lead them to encounters with otherworldly beings, haunted places, and unexplained phenomena, as they delved further into the unknown. The nightmare of Blackwood Forest had come to an end, but their journey into the world of the supernatural had only just begun. Sarah and John's continued investigations into the supernatural world led them to a haunted mansion known as Ravenscroft Manor. The mansion had a sinister reputation, with a history of unexplained deaths and strange occurrences. As they explored the mansion's dark and decaying rooms, they discovered a hidden diary that once belonged to the mansion's original owner, a man named Nathaniel Ravenscroft. The diary detailed his obsession with dark magic and a malevolent entity that had promised him power and immortality in exchange for terrible deeds. The revelation sent shivers down their spines, as it became clear that the malevolent entity they had encountered was not unique to Blackwood Forest. It had a long history of influencing people to perform dark deeds and had left a trail of suffering in its wake. Shortly after their discovery at Ravenscroft Manor, the malevolent entity returned, even more vengeful and determined. It seemed that their investigation had uncovered secrets that the entity did not want revealed. The haunting began anew, with Sarah and John experiencing increasingly terrifying phenomena. Apparitions of Nathaniel Ravenscroft and other tormented souls appeared, and the very walls of the mansion seemed to close in on them. Sarah and John realized that their encounters with the malevolent entity were not coincidental but part of a larger pattern. They needed to delve deeper into its history and discover a way to permanently banish it. Their quest led them to a reclusive historian with expertise in the supernatural. He revealed that the malevolent entity was known as the Shadow Lurker, an ancient and malevolent force that preyed on those who sought forbidden power and knowledge. The historian explained that the only way to defeat the Shadow Lurker was to uncover its true name and recite a binding ritual, sending it back to the supernatural plane from which it had originated. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah and John returned to Ravenscroft Manor to confront the Shadow Lurker. The malevolent entity attempted to use their deepest fears and regrets against them, but they remained resolute. As they stood before the entity, they recited the binding ritual, demanding its true name. The Shadow Lurker howled in agony as it revealed its name: Azael. With the power of the ritual, they bound Azael and sent it back to the supernatural plane from which it had come. With the Shadow Lurker banished, Ravenscroft Manor's curse was broken. The malevolent presence that had plagued the mansion for centuries dissipated, and the tormented souls found peace. Sarah and John left the mansion behind, their investigations having brought closure to the haunting. They understood that the supernatural world held many mysteries, but they had managed to free another place from the malevolent forces that sought to bind it. Sarah and John continued their paranormal investigations, now with a better understanding of the malevolent forces that lurked in the supernatural realm. Their experiences had only deepened their fascination and their determination to uncover the unknown. They knew that the world was full of enigmas and secrets, and they were willing to confront the darkest of forces to seek the truth. Their journey into the supernatural would lead them to encounters with otherworldly beings, haunted places, and unexplained phenomena. As they delved further into the unknown, the nightmare of the Shadow Lurker had come to an end, but their journey into the world of the supernatural had only just begun.